And yeah, we will get started very shortly. For those of us just trickling through, I'm just giving it another 30 seconds or so, just so that nobody misses out. So yeah, if you've not got a brew, make sure you grab one, and we'll start very, very soon. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. I'm really glad that you're here. 2025 has been a big year, a year of change, experimentation, resets, honestly, a few what on earth is happening moments. But the reason that I wanted to run this session isn't to predict the future or overwhelm you with trends. It's just a pause, just for a moment, pull out the lessons that actually mattered from this year. So when we understand what worked in 2025, we're in a much better place to move into 2026 with confidence instead of guessing. So before we dive in, take a breath, grab a brew, and let's look at what 2025 actually taught us about marketing and what that means for 2026. So before we start, hello, I am Lily. If we've not met before, it's really lovely to have you here. So I work in marketing day in, day out, and over the last year, I've spent a lot of time not just creating content, but analysing what actually works as well. Earlier this year, I was recognised as a top 25 marketer to follow in 2025, which was obviously a huge pinch me moment. But a big part of that has come from showing up consistently, particularly on LinkedIn. I share the good stuff, the lessons, the messy behind the scenes stuff, and I've been able to grow my audience over 15,000 people in pretty much a year, just by being honest about what I'm seeing in the marketing industry. But I'm also a community builder as well. So I run Empowered Marketing, which is a space designed to support and uplift marketers. In terms of what I actually do, I lead social and marketing strategy for brands across tech, media, childcare, property, construction, and honestly a lot more in between all of that. I spend a lot of time building personal brands too, helping individuals and leadership teams drive reach, trust, and revenue by showing up as humans and not logos or faceless brands. I do deliver webinars and workshops like this one as well, always grounded in real data, real trends, and things that you can actually apply and not just theory. So, the reason that I wanted to host this webinar today is simple. I've spent 2025 right in the thick of it, testing, analysing, seeing firsthand what genuinely worked for businesses and what really didn't work. So, my goal today is to give you clarity as you head into 2026. So, quick agenda rundown. The aim of this session isn't to overwhelm you with trends or buzzwords, it's to focus on what actually mattered in marketing and what's worth taking forward. So, we'll look at the big shifts that really defined marketing in 2025. Then we'll talk about AI this year, not in a hypey way, but in a practical way. What brands actually used it for, what worked, and where the guardrails need to be as well. And then after that, I'll share some iconic campaign moments, in my opinion anyway. And then we'll move into what every marketer should prioritize for 2026. And then we'll finish with a Q&A as well. So if anything does spark a question as we go, please pop it in the chat or the Q&A box and we can come to it at the end. So this session is designed to be practical, honest, and useful. So whether you're in-house, agency, or running your own thing, get comfortable and let's get into it. I do just want to start with a really quick icebreaker, nothing scary, I promise. I just want you to think about one word that sums up your 2025. It can be honest, it can be positive, it can be maybe a bit chaotic. There's no judgment here at all. So drop your word in the chat. And if you're thinking, oh my God, I've got about 5 words, just pick the first one that comes to mind. I'll give you a few seconds to drop it in. Wow, I love these words. I love that chaotic is coming up a lot. Changing, visibility, community. Love that. We'll definitely lean into that in this webinar. Yeah, they're amazing and they keep coming through, so that's great. Please do keep typing in that chat box as well because I hate just talking to myself. I love it when you guys are there. I might miss things as well because I am a little bit chaotic, like this chat is mentioning, so I might flip to and from. But yeah, let's move on. So the brands that won this year weren't shouting louder, they were building close relationships. Community, as we've just said, stopped being a nice to have and it became a genuine growth tactic. Trust is now the currency, and people trust people far more than they trust logos. So this played out really, really clearly through two tactics in particular. The first is UGC. So an example of this is Zara, who leaned into user behavior instead of trying to control it. So I'll just play you a quick example here. Right, I'm just going to pause that there because as much as I love seeing clothes, I don't want to go on a tangent and end up on Zara and ordering more than I can afford. But basically, people have been filming Zara hauls, styling reels, honest try-ons on TikTok and Instagram reels for years, but rather than fighting it or over polishing their own content, Zara embraced it. They reshared creators, they spotlighted everyday outfits and not styled campaigns, and they made their customers the heroes. It worked for a multitude of reasons. First is credibility. People don't trust perfect brand shots anymore. They trust someone who looks like them, shops like them, and styles clothes in real life. Second, scale without cost. So UGC gave Zara a constant stream of fresh, authentic content without massively increasing production budgets. So the community did the work willingly. And then third is conversion. So UGC shortens the buying decision. Seeing a jumper on someone your age, body type, or lifestyle makes it feel safer to buy. That's why people buy from people they relate to isn't just a saying, it's a proven behaviour. And then belonging. When a brand reshares your content, you feel seen. That keeps the customers coming back because they don't just shop there, they feel like they're part of something. So the key lesson's simple here. Zara didn't create a community campaign. They created a space and amplified what was already happening. So the second tactic that I want to talk about is employee advocacy. And I can't think of a more iconic campaign example than Chip Shop Diva. So if you've not already seen her on your FYP, here's a recent example.
Hi, can you get a battered piggy blanket, please?
Someone's feeling festive.
I am, yeah.
Would you like beef dripping chips with that?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be beef dripping chips, please.
Okay. Here's your beef dripping chips. Would you like some salt and vinegar on them?
Oh, yes, please. Plenty of salt and loads of vinegar.
Yeah.
That's it. Loads and loads of vinegar. Bit of extra vinegar, please. More vinegar? That's great.
I'm going to go get your pig in blanket now.
Okay, thank you. Wow, now that's what you call a proper pig in blanket.
It is.
Do you do cranberry sauce?
We do, actually. Here's your cranberry sauce.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, this is really festive.
You know what else will make it festive?
I don't know, what's that?
A Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah, can I grab a Coca-Cola, please?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what? Can you grab a Coca-Cola cherry as well, please?
There you go. You know what would make it even more festive?
I don't know, what would that be?
A battered mince pie.
Oh, that does sound good, but do you know what? I'm going to have one of those next time.
Oh. Looks like you're having plenty of chippy tea this winter.
I am, yeah.
Yep, right, pay up.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
You enjoy the rest of your day.
And you.
Bye.
Bye.
So Chip Shop Diva it works because of the trust, the personality and the consistency, essentially. She didn't follow a brand script. She showed up as herself. It was the same counter, the same tone, the same humour every time. Employee posts consistently outperform company pages. Algorithms prioritise faces and personality. And audiences respond really well to that as well. Human connection as well. In 2025, people are tired of ads, tired of polish, tired of corporate language. Watching a real person behind a business cuts through instantly. Third, the brand alignment without force. So there wasn't a long brand guideline here. The alignment came from trust. The business allowed personality, and that made the brand feel warmer, more memorable, and more shareable. And then there's the employee brand impact. So this kind of content doesn't just drive customers, it also attracts staff. It shows culture in action, not on a careers page. And that's crucial. Employee advocacy worked when it was voluntary. Not forced, not templated, not everyone post this caption. The lesson that brands learned was to empower and not control. So both of these examples work because they tapped into the same truth. People want to feel connected, they want to recognise themselves in a brand, and they want honesty over perfection. So community became a loyalty engine because it removed distance between brands and humans. The brands that won in 2025 didn't talk at their audience, they talked with them, and often they let the community do the talking as well. So this slide is basically a reminder that despite every new platform, every new feature, every new shiny trend, short form video is still doing the heavy lifting. 2025 didn't change that, it just confirmed it. The stat on this slide says it all. 85% of consumers prefer videos under 15 seconds for discovery. That matters because discovery is where growth starts. This year, attention became even more fragmented. People weren't sitting down to consume content. They're scrolling in pockets of time, whether it's in a queue or between meetings or even on the sofa after a long day. So brands that tried to explain everything in one video lost people. The brands that won understood one thing, and that's that short form video isn't about saying everything, it's about saying just enough to stop the scroll. We are living in a scroll first world. People aren't sitting there absorbing content anymore. They're flicking, tapping, reacting. So if your content is passive, if it just sits there waiting to be consumed, most people are gone in under a second. Interactive content flips that behaviour. So instead of asking people to watch or read, you're asking them to do something, whether it's tap, vote, try, swipe, choose. And the minute that someone participates, they're invested. So you want to think of things like polls, quizzes, filters, challenges. All of these turn content from background noise into experience. L'Oreal absolutely nailed this with their AR try-ons. So instead of saying, here's a lipstick, buy it, they let people try it on through their phone. So different shades, different finishes, but there's no pressure and no commitment. And the clever bit is that people weren't just using it for seconds. They were playing with it, comparing, going back and forth, and that increased dwell time massively. And guess what that leads to? Higher confidence, higher conversion rates, and fewer returns. That's interactive content doing the job of marketing and sales and customer experience. So that's what we need to pay attention to in 2026. People don't want to be marketed at, they want to be involved. If you can turn your content into something people interact with, even in just a tiny way, you instantly increase its value. So AI has shifted from experimental to business critical. Marketers use it across creative, operations and analytics and more. It's not just for automation. So the brands winning this year are the ones integrating AI into every stage of the process. It's not about robots taking over. It's about doing everyday marketing tasks better, faster and smarter. So these 4 areas are where we've seen the biggest real world impact in 2025. First up is personalisation at scale. People don't want generic ads anymore. They expect content that feels like it was made for them. AI allows brands to tailor product recommendations, ads, and messaging in real time based on behavior and not assumptions. Especially with Gen Z, they can spot irrelevant marketing a mile off and they scroll past it straight away. Next is content automation. So AI can help with scripts, first drafts, captions, variations for different platforms or markets. But, and this is important, the winning formula is AI drafts, human edits. That's how teams are producing more content without burning out. Predictive analytics is basically AI helping you make better decisions. So instead of guessing what might work, it looks at behavior, trends, data to forecast what's more likely to convert. And that means smarter budgeting decisions. Less money wasted on the wrong audience, wrong channel, or wrong time. In a year where budgets are tighter than ever, this has been a massive win. CRM optimization is where AI supports retention and not just acquisition. It helps brands identify high-value customers, predict churn, and create smarter customer journeys. So instead of treating everyone the same, brands can focus energy where it actually matters, and that means better lifetime value, better experiences, and better results overall. So I want you to take away from this slide is that AI isn't doing one big thing. It's doing lots of little things really well. There's been a lot of noise around AI replacing jobs, replacing teams, replacing creativity, but that's not what the brands doing this well are seeing at all. It's brilliant at speed and humans are brilliant at judgment, but you need both. AI doesn't understand nuance. It doesn't understand tone, context, culture, brand reputation in the same way that humans do. So things like messaging, accuracy, and emotional intelligence, that still needs a human eye, especially in marketing where trust is everything. Nestle is a great example because they're a global brand with hundreds of products, dozens of markets, and endless variations of campaigns. So earlier this year, they rolled out an AI-led production workflow that completely transformed how they create ads for different regions. Instead of creating one master campaign and manually adapting it for each country, which would take ages, they used AI tools to generate market-specific versions automatically. So things like language tweaks, cultural references, colours, food styling, ingredient callouts, all instantly adjusted for each region through AI. Then, human editors in each market reviewed the outputs for tone, accuracy, and cultural fit. It wasn't a case of AI running wild. It was a partnership. So AI is doing the heavy lifting and humans are doing the refining. But what's really effective with this campaign is the impact. Campaign lead times dropped by 60%, and that's the difference between a 6-week turnaround and a 2-week turnaround. Creative teams had more time to focus on the storytelling and the big ideas rather than repetitive production tasks. And because each market received content that was genuinely localized, engagement rates increased. People felt like the ad was made for them, not translated for them. They didn't just save time, they improved performance. The takeaway here is that Nestle has big budgets. It's not that they have big budgets, it's that they were early to understand that this new workflow works. AI handles the volume, humans handle the quality. So now for my favourite section is personal branding. Personal posts cut through because they feel real. They don't feel overly polished, overly approved, or overly corporate. They're conversational, relatable, and they sound like someone talking to you, not at you. The algorithms love that. Platforms consistently reward personality-led content over brand-first messaging because that's what people actually engage with. This stat always stops people in their tracks. So 44% of companies' market value is now tied to the CEO's reputation. That is absolutely massive. Customers want to see who's in charge. They want to see what they believe in and how they make decisions. Founder and leadership storytelling builds trust because people feel that they know the person behind the business. And when leadership shows up consistently, the brand feels more transparent, credible, and again, human. So employee posts receive 24 times more shares than brand posts. That's not a small difference. That is huge because employee content shows how real work, real people, and real experiences. It humanises the business again. This year, the employee voice wasn't just a marketing channel, it became great for recruitment, retention, and a culture building tool. People want to see what it's actually like to work with you. And this one's especially important for B2B brands, but thought leadership isn't about showing off, it's about sharing value. Professionals don't want sales messages in their feed. They want insight, perspective, and experience. When leaders and teams share what they've learned, what they're seeing, or what they're questioning, it builds credibility without feeling salesy. And the bonus is that it drives better traffic, better press, and higher quality inbound leads. The strongest example that I can think of from this year of personal branding, leading the campaign, not just supporting it, is the McDonald's and Stormzy collaboration. So it wasn't a case of, here's a celebrity holding our burger. Stormzy was the campaign. His personality, his humour, cultural presence, it was all woven into every part of this meal, this campaign. Stormzy has a personal brand that feels trustworthy, relatable, and authentically British. So McDonald's didn't try to dilute that. They leaned into it. Instead of pushing a brand first message, they let Stormzy's humour, his tone of voice, and his cultural influence lead. The Big Mike order instantly resonated because it felt like something that he'd actually say and not something that a marketing's forced him to read. That's where marketing's heading. Personal brands aren't an add-on. They're one of the most powerful creative assets that we have. Consumers trust people, and when a personal brand leads a story, the campaign instantly feels more real, more memorable, and more shareable. So before we move into priorities for 2026, I want to spotlight a few more campaigns from 2025 that have really set the bar for me personally. They weren't clever ideas, they were smart, insight-led examples of how marketing's evolving. So let's start with KFC. This one shows the power of merging physical marketing with digital playfulness. So KFC created a reality billboard that transformed its outdoor ads into a 24/7 always open experience. Passers-by could hold up their phone, scan the billboard, and bring a virtual KFC shop to life. The genius bit here isn't the tech, it's the behaviour insight. People are already on their phones, but KFC simply used AR to make the offline world interactive. The impact of this was massive social sharing because it felt fun, unexpected. It boosted footfall and app engagement, and it positioned KFC as culturally incentive and not just a takeaway brand. So in 2026, I think interactivity wins. If your content can be played with and not just looked at, then you're ahead. A little bit of a trigger warning, please. This campaign covers themes of suicide and loss, so please switch off now. If that's necessary. But this is Calm's Evelyn. It was one of the most emotionally charged pieces of marketing that I think we saw this year, and a powerful reminder that storytelling can save lives. So I'm just going to click play now. Like I said, please switch off if this is triggering for you.
It's me, very tired with my cup of tea when we just got back. And this is my gorgeous little daughter. Happy birthday, Evelyn, my beautiful girl. From the moment I first held you, my world changed forever. Happy, sad. Happy, sad. You've brought sunshine into our lives. Evelyn, do you think that Santa Claus has left you some presents? Should we have a look?
Yes!
With your kind heart.
Yeah, we're going to Disneyland.
And amazing hugs.
We're going to give Jack a hug too.
That beaming smile that can light up any room.
Keep going, Evelyn. Paddle, paddle, paddle.
And your infectious laugh.
Hold my hand. Stand up straight.
That always sets everyone else off. And it's all passed by so quickly.
Oh, sorry guys. Okay, I won't play the rest of that, but if you haven't already seen it, please go watch it. But yeah, so the campaign basically tells the true story of Evelyn, who was a young girl, a bit happy, outgoing, but tragically died by suicide. From a marketing perspective, it shows how emotional storytelling, vulnerability, and lived experience cut through far more than polished messaging ever could. This campaign, it sparked a national conversation around hidden struggles and drove a huge spike in support and donations. It also demonstrated that authenticity, when done responsibly, has real societal impact. And it teaches something important as well. Audiences respond to the truth. Not performative purpose, but genuine human stories that make them think and feel. So next up is Cadbury's Make to Share campaign. So they built this entire campaign around authentic, user-generated moments, people sharing chocolates in everyday situations, small acts of kindness, emotional nostalgia. Cadbury didn't script these stories, they curated them. It impacted that in higher engagement than traditional ads because the content felt real. It also strengthened Cadbury's long-standing positioning around generosity, and it showed how UGC can be used in premium emotional storytelling and not just social trends. So I've shown you some of my favourite campaigns. Now it's your turn. I want to know what campaign stood out to you this year. Let me know in the chats. Cool. So moving on then to 2026 priorities. We've looked at what worked in 2025, but let's look ahead. Social reach is getting harder to earn. Algorithms are tightening, paid ad spend is going up, and brand posts just don't travel the way that they used to. But community spaces, so things like newsletters, private groups, ambassador networks, give you something that platforms never will, and that's direct access to your audience. There's no algorithms in the middle and no fighting for attention. Oatly is a great example of this being done properly. Their newsletter is full of personality. It's opinionated, informal, and it feels like it's been written by real humans. The updates feel intimate, conversations go both ways, and their ambassador-style network of superfans actually actively supports and amplifies Oatly's brand, and the impact is huge. Higher loyalty, stronger brand affinity, and a self-sustaining ecosystem of advocates who talk about Oatly because they want to and not because they're paid to. That kind of advocacy is far more powerful than any ad. In 2026, the brands that will win won't be the loudest, they'll be the ones that create spaces that people actually want to be part of. So that means investing in conversation and not just content. It means asking questions, responding to comments, rewarding loyalty, and making people feel seen. It doesn't have to be complicated. A strong newsletter, a loyal ambassador group, a well-run private community. But those touch points compound over time. Reach is rented, but community is owned. So this slide is all about how we should be using AI properly in 2026. The brands using it well aren't doing anything flashy. They're just using it to remove friction, speed things up, and improve the experience for both customers and teams. But, and this is the important bit again, effectiveness comes down to how ethically and transparently it's used. A really strong example of this is Klarna. So their AI customer service assistant now handles around 2/3 of all customer queries. And what's impressive is that satisfaction didn't drop. Customers actually got faster responses, more consistency and support around the clock. At the same time, Klarna haven't removed the human layer. They've just protected it. So human agents are now freed up to deal with more complex, emotional or nuanced situations rather than repeating the same answers all day. So again, AI is doing the repetitive work, but humans do the meaningful work. And that's exactly what we should be thinking about AI into next year. So as privacy changes roll on and cookies continue to disappear, brands can no longer rely on borrowed data. The future is first-party data, data that customers actively choose to give you. And the brands that win in 2026 won't be the ones who collect the most data, they'll be the ones who use it best. So another brilliant example is Tesco's Club Card. They're not guessing what customers want. They're responding to real behaviour. Every offer is based on actual shopping habits and not just assumptions. So because of that, they get personalised discounts, which are consistently used. They see a much higher redemption rates than just generic promotions. And it's not because the discounts are bigger, it's just because they're relevant. And from a marketing point of view, it does three things really, really well. So it builds loyalty because customers feel understood. It increases basket value because the offers make sense. And it improves forecasting because brands can predict behaviour far more accurately. But the real lesson here isn't go collect loads of data. It's earn the data. Customers are far more willing to share information when they see the value in return. So whether that's better offers, better experiences, or less noise. When brands are transparent about how data is used, trust increases rather than decreases. So going into 2026, first-party data isn't just a compliance solution, it's a competitive advantage because it reduces data spend, it creates better experiences, and it future-proofs your marketing when platforms change, which inevitably we know they will do. So if there's one mindset shift from this slide, it's that personalization isn't creepy when it's useful. So audiences are getting really, really good at spotting what's real and what's performative. Like I said earlier, especially with Gen Z, brands don't get a second chance if they're seen to jumping on values just because it looks good in a campaign. People want to support brands that actually stand for something and stand by it consistently. So Patagonia is one of the strongest examples of this. Their marketing isn't built around trend, it's built around long-term beliefs. So sustainability, activism, transparency, it's not just messaging for them, it's how the business operates. Customers don't just buy Patagonia products, they buy into their mission, and that's why the brand has such deep loyalty. The impact of that is huge. High loyalty, cultural influence, and trust that lasts far beyond a single campaign. Authenticity can't be faked. If your values only show up in your marketing and not in your operations, your people, or your decisions as a business, audiences will clock onto that. The brands that will thrive next year are the ones that show their values through actions and not slogans. Culture moves fast. Trends don't last weeks anymore. Sometimes they barely last days. So if your content calendar is locked 6 weeks in advance, you will fall behind. Now, I'm not saying that you need to hop on every single trend, but staying agile in 2026 isn't about being chaotic. It's about being responsive. Duolingo is obviously the gold standard for this. They don't overthink, they don't overpolish, they just react. Their TikTok strategy adapts instantly to trends, challenges, sounds, and cultural moments, sometimes within hours. That speed is the strategy, because by the time something feels perfect, the moment's usually past. The reason that this works so well is because the content feels alive. It feels current, self-aware, and it's in on the joke. And that's why Duolingo consistently sees increased visibility, humour-led virality, and strong brand relevance without trying to sell anything. That's the big mindset shift for 2026. Create fast, test fast, and learn fast. Not every post needs to be a hero campaign. Some content exists purely to listen, respond, and stay culturally fluent. Representation affects loyalty. Full stop. People want to see themselves reflected in the brands that they support, not just occasionally, but consistently. It's not about ticking boxes, it's about understanding context, nuance, and lived experience. Inclusion done badly isn't neutral, it damages trust. Again, Dove is the gold standard here. The Real Beauty platform has been running for over 20 years and it's still relevant today because it's not treated like a campaign. It's built into how they show up everywhere, who they feature, how they speak, what they stand for. Real people, different ages, different ethnicities, different abilities, different body types, and not in a tokenistic way, in a normalized, everyday way. That consistency is why the impact has been so powerful. Dove has built brand loyalty that's lasted decades because the message hasn't changed within the trend cycle. It's credible, but it's also continuous. Inclusion isn't a one-off initiative. It's not a campaign that you can run once a year. It's a commitment that you need to embed into every single channel. Your content, your casting, your partnerships, your language, your decisions. The most loved brands don't shout about inclusion. They quietly practice it over and over again. And when that happens, marketing stops feel like marketing. It feels like representation that people can trust. So to wrap this all up, marketing is absolutely evolving, but the fundamentals haven't changed. The brands doing well aren't chasing every trend. They know their audience, they stay human, and they move with agility. So before you rush into 2026, the first thing I'd really encourage you to do is look back. Review your 2025 wins and lessons. Take a proper look under the bonnet. Audit your tech stack, your data hygiene, not to add more tools, but to make sure that what you already have is working hard enough. If something's not helping you become faster, smarter, or more customer focused, it's probably not pulling its weight. Then reassess your loyalty and your content strategies. Reach is great, but loyalty is what sustains growth. Ask yourself where you're building a real connection. Is it just awareness? And finally, start planning your 2026 activations now. The strongest campaigns don't come from last minute panic. They come from clear thinking, confidence, and a willingness to test, learn, and adapt. If there's one thing I'd love you to take away from today, it's this. Marketing isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things with the right people at the right time. So before you head off, I just want to leave you with something practical. So I've pulled together a marketing trends report that brings everything we've talked about today into one place. What shaped 2025, what actually worked, and what's worth taking into 2026. You can download it straight from the service website. It's there to help you reflect, plan, and prioritize, whether you're a one-person marketing team or you're leading a department. And if you're looking at 2026 and need a little bit of support with your marketing, that's exactly what we do at Service. From strategy and content to video community campaigns, we help brands make sense of it all and turn it into action. No pressure, no hard sell, just support if and when you need it. And finally, please do connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. This stuff is what I spend most of my time thinking about, testing, talking through. My DMs are genuinely always open. Whether you've got a quick question, you want to chat ideas, or you just want to continue the conversation. So before we jump into your questions, I do just want to say a massive thank you to you all for being here today. Seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to join me and for being so engaged throughout as well. Now, if you've got any questions, please drop them in the chat and I will head over there now. You're going to have to bear with me, guys. I usually have an extra pair of hands on me for this, but we will figure it out. Here we go. I've got the chat up. Cool. Any questions at all? If not, we will cut this short and you can have the rest of your lunch hour to relax and reflect. But again, thank you so much for coming. The stats come from a variety of sources. Talia, if you want the exact ones, I have them somewhere in my notes app, but they're from places like HubSpot, Hootsuite, Marketing Trends Report, etc. Given that brands need to stay flexible, how can they balance this with content planning? I think just the flexibility of it. So, I mean, I usually try and plan a month in advance, but if something comes up, then, you know, you need to have that time, that energy, the resources to be able to jump on it. Trends require you to act fast. So to have that flexibility in your calendar, whether it's half an hour on a Monday or a Wednesday, just to reflect that week's content, see if anything needs moving around, see if there's anything you want to add in there, and just adding a little bit of flexibility to your schedule. Dynamic video coming strong in 2026, already seen a rise of 2025. What are your thoughts? 100%. I mean, video is king. I think we'll see video in 2026 come a long way. I think video and AI mixed together is going to be huge. I think it's a little bit scary. But yeah, I think it's exciting as well. And I don't know why it's reminded me of this, but obviously it's coming to Australia now about the social media and the kids not being allowed on social media, essentially. I think that's really interesting. So if anyone wants a conversation about that, please hop into my DMs because I'm very intrigued about that. I'm 3 weeks into launching my new business as co-founder, put myself front and center above the business as I have the reach currently. Will that drive traffic to my work? 1000%. As I keep saying throughout this webinar, people buy from people, not faceless logos. The LinkedIn algorithm does prefer personal content. It prefers profiles opposed to brands. So definitely position yourself as a thought leader, make it known that you are the face of the brand, what you specialize in, so that when the time comes for someone needing that service, you're at the front of their mind. I'm launching a second business in the same industry. How do you balance which business to prioritize and promote on your personal LinkedIn? Any tips welcome. I think the priority comes down to you and what you personally want to prioritize. But I think content pillars come into play here as well. You can have content pillars that go over the two businesses. So say, for example, you've got one business about marketing and the other about, I don't know, let's say a bakery, for example. You can have content pillars that I usually have 5 content pillars, but I recommend having 3 to 5 that drift across both of them, or that kind of thing. And then maybe on a Monday you post about this one, and then on a Wednesday you post about this one, and then on a Friday you post about something that ties them both together. And again, positioning yourself as a thought leader within those two industries. Similar to Amanda's question, do you act personally on your own account and shout out about the company, or put yourself on a company page and become an advocate via the company page? I personally would say on your own account, because like I said, the algorithms do prefer the personal profiles. You will get so much more reach, so much more engagement from your own profile than you would the brand's profile. And unfortunately, that just is the way the algorithm works. That being said, I wouldn't neglect the brand profile. I would still have it there and at least publishing on there once a week. But you want to be the face of that brand. You want to be associated with that brand. So you want to optimize your profile with that brand. So whether it's your header, your headline, your bio, you want to tie it back to that brand again. Yes, please do, Victoria, please pop in my DMs. Like I said, they're always open. Sorry, my connection cut out as you were talking, Lily, but I think you mentioned something about children on social media. Of course, Australia rolling out its ban. I was going to get a kids directed business started with socials marketing as a prime marketing space for it. Wanted to know, so the content itself will mostly be parent facing, but is there merit in releasing posts direct to the kids that parents can show them? I just don't know people's sentiment with kids and such. Very, very good question. I think it depends on the business and your services and your kind of objectives and KPIs. Again, I'm very happy to have this discussion with you, and you can let me know a little bit more about it. We can bounce ideas off one another and see where that goes. My only relevant kind of experience is with a nursery, but actually, that being said, I have worked with an educational company before as well, which was more teenagers. So yeah, Sarah, let's chat on that privately. Final question on LinkedIn. Should videos, short ones, sorry, it keeps moving when I'm reading them, a key tactic, me talking about my business? I personally have only just started into the world of short form video, and I personally love consuming it. So I thought I would try it out for myself. I definitely would recommend it. Video is king, and like I said, 2026 is going to be huge for it. The only thing I would recommend is please don't get disheartened if at first you're not getting the numbers on it. LinkedIn especially is full of lurkers. If you're on Instagram and TikTok as well, obviously that's a video first platform. You can also do trial reels on Instagram and you can reach a whole new audience. So in short, the answer to your question is yes, talk about your business on video. I'm new to marketing, started freelancing. Sometimes I panic when I get my existing clients to request a new additional service, which I don't usually offer. In this case, can I outsource to fellow digital marketers? Is this something common? Yes, absolutely. I always think collaboration over community, over competition, not community. Community is very important. So yeah, make those connections in the marketing world, and I'm sure that they'll also be willing to help you out as well and help you train up if that is something that you're willing for. If not, that's absolutely okay too. We don't all have to be expertise in every area of marketing because it's huge and that would be a lot of time, effort and resources. But yeah, there's absolutely no problem with hiring other external people to help you out. Okay, I think I am caught up with questions. I'm just checking the time. Yeah, so we do have 40 minutes extra. If there is any other questions, please pop them in. If not, like I said, give me a DM. I'm always happy to chat. And thank you so much for taking this time to listen to me ramble. I'm going to go down a pint of water now because I'm so thirsty. But yeah, thank you guys. Have a lovely Christmas and a happy new year.